Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into a really powerful story from Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, and we're going to explore a fascinating question. Is your biggest dream something that's actually pushing you forward, or could it be the very thing that's keeping you exactly where you are?
And this quote right here, this is the heart of it all. It's a pretty surprising thing to hear, right? It's spoken by a crystal merchant to a young shepherd boy, and it just perfectly captures this profound difference in how we think about our life's greatest ambitions.
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in this kind of dusty crystal shop in Tangier. We've got a young boy, he's working hard to earn enough money to get back home and buy his sheep, and he meets the shop's owner, a man who's been standing in that very same spot for 30 long years.
And you can see right off the bat, these two, they couldn't be more different. I mean, they have these two totally opposite ways of looking at life. On one hand, you have the boy, who's out there actively chasing his destiny, he's following signs, he welcomes change, but the merchant, he is completely rooted in his routine, deeply resistant to any kind of change, and just terrified of making a mistake. It's this classic clash between ambition and, well, comfort.
So, this difference between them, it doesn't just stay as some big idea. Nope, it comes to a head almost immediately when the boy suggests a really simple, logical change to try and get more customers into this quiet little shop.
So the boy has this idea. He says, hey, what if we build a display case and put it outside, so it can catch the eye of people walking by? Seems like a pretty basic business move, right? But for the merchant, this simple little idea sparks immediate fear.
In the merchant, he is terrified of the unknown. He basically argues that, unlike rich people, they can't afford for things to go wrong. What if the case gets bumped and the crystals break? That's a loss they would really feel. His whole worldview is just defined by avoiding risk at all costs. It's a classic case of what you might call comfort zone paralysis.
But the boy, he sees it totally differently, and he draws on his own life as a shepherd. For him, risk isn't something you try to avoid. It's just part of life. It's an unavoidable, even necessary part of moving forward. Just like a shepherd has to deal with the possibility of snakes, an entrepreneur has to deal with the possibility of failure.
Okay, so this whole thing about risk, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. Their conversation quickly goes way beyond business strategy and gets into this deep philosophical divide about the very purpose of having a dream in the first place.
And if you look at their dreams, you can really see what we're talking about. For the boy, the pyramids are a destination, a real, tangible goal he's actively working towards. But for the merchant, the holy city of Mecca, well, that serves a very different purpose. It's a dream he needs to keep at a distance. It's this beautiful idea that just sustains him.
And this is where the merchant just lays it all out there. It's so honest, and it's really revealing. He admits that the dream's power comes from the fact that it's unrealized. Just the thought of Mecca is what gets him through the day-to-day grind. The same shop, the same silent crystals, the same cafe. So here's the crucial point. He prefers the perfect, imagined version of his dream over what might be a disappointing reality. I mean, what if he gets there and it's not as amazing as he's built it up to be for all these years? And even worse, if he achieves it, what will he have left to live for? You see, his dream isn't a goal, it's fuel, and he is terrified of running out.
So what happens? The boy's ideas actually start working. And as the shop gets more and more successful, the merchant can no longer just sit comfortably in his old routine. He's suddenly forced to look at this life of greater possibility, a life he very consciously chose not to live.
And of course, the boy isn't done. He's always seeing the next thing, his next idea. Let's serve tea to all the thirsty travelers who are climbing the hill, and let's serve it into beautiful crystal glasses. Now, this isn't just a small tweak like the display case. This is a fundamental change to the whole business, pushing the merchant even further out of his comfort zone.
And this is the real breaking point. This is the moment of truth. The merchant finally confesses his deepest fear. It's not about losing money anymore. It's about the fact that if they actually succeed, his entire way of life will have to change, and he just doesn't know how to deal with that.
Wow. I mean, this is just such a powerful admission, right? The boy's presence, his energy, his vision, it's all been a blessing. But by showing the merchant all the possibilities he willfully ignored for 30 years, that blessing has now just shined a giant spotlight on a lifetime of inaction.
And that's really the tragedy of the merchant, isn't it? It's this idea that the knowledge of what could have been is now this heavy burden. Before the boy showed up, he was just kind of discontent, but now
Now he feels worse because he knows exactly what he's capable of and he's actively choosing not to do it. But here's the thing. Here's the twist in the story. Because after seeing the merchant's whole situation so clearly, the boy, our hero, finds himself facing the exact same temptation.
So the boy's been working hard, the shop is a huge success, and he starts doing the math. He realizes that pretty soon he's going to have enough money not just to buy back his original flock of sheep, but to buy double that number.
And that, right there, is the trap. With this new, tangible, comfortable goal right in front of him, returning to Spain as a success, that original, much more difficult dream of finding his personal legend at the pyramids, it just starts to fade away. It begins to feel distant, kind of unreal.
Think about it. He is, without even realizing it, starting down the exact same path as the man he's been working for. He's about to trade in a life-changing adventure for a comfortable, tangible reward. He's on the verge of turning his own dream of the pyramids into his own personal mecca, something nice to think about but never actually do. And that's really what this whole story leaves us with, right? It's a question we should all probably ask ourselves about our own lives. Is the dream you're holding on to the engine that's pushing you out into the unknown? Or has it become a beautiful, comforting justification for never really having to change at all?